Greetings, humans. You have entered the Command Zone, your destination for all aspects of Elder Dragon Highlander. Enjoy your stay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Command Zone podcast. I'm one of your hosts, DJ.
And hey, everyone. I'm your other host, Ashlen Rose.
Oh my gosh, Ashlen. It is Commander Precon time, and today we're talking about the Ruinous Powers. This is the budget upgrade guide. So we're going to take this pre-constructed deck that's already awesome, super flavorful, but we're going to make sure that it's ready for your commander tables. We're going to take 10 cards out, put 10 cards of your choice.
That's right, my
right
choice.
Into that deck. And we're going to do it all for under $30. But before we get into all the details of this deck, a quick word from our sponsors.
Yes. You're going to be wanting to buy this precon anyways, so you might as well do it while supporting the channel by going to cardkingdom.com/command. That's right, we are back to being sponsored by my favorite card retailer in the business, Card Kingdom. If you want to pick up any of these 40K precons or cards to build your own armies to play against your friends, or maybe you want Infinity or Brothers War product, plus you want to support the show at the same time, head on over to cardkingdom.com/command. They have a huge inventory. It's a great place to pick up bulk singles. If you're looking for something magic related, they've got you covered. Plus, Card Kingdom is universally known for their incredibly fast shipping, which is great because that means I'm going to get all my cards in one package and at the same time. I don't know about you, but usually when I'm buying cards, it's because I'm building a deck. And so now I'll get everything together and don't have to wait, and I can play the deck and try it out right away. So use cardkingdom.com/command. And when you do, you're also supporting all of the content we create here at the Command Zone in the process. It's a win-win. And once you get all of your product, you're going to want to put them into something that can protect them. And that's where ULTRAPRO comes in. They're the other sponsor for our show. They make many delightful magic products to protect and glow up your cards. We use them on all of our game nights, from their Eclipse sleeves to playmats, which are my personal favorite thing to get from them because they have all the official licenses for the card art of each set. Plus, they have other cool accessories like the wall scrolls. So check out ultrapro.com/command.
And the final way to support the show is on Patreon. We adore our patrons because they keep the lights on. They can make sure that everything is running smoothly here. And we love hearing from you on Discord. We love giving you access to content early through those Patreon exclusives. And the other thing that we love to do is shout out the name of one lucky patron every single episode. And this episode is dedicated to Joel Quinn. Joel, you rock. Thanks, Joel. We did it. All right. So today we're talking about the Ruinous Powers, the budget upgrade guide. Remember, we're going to go over the deck. We're going to talk about all of the legendary creatures. We're going to talk about how this deck plays. We're going to go over some stats.
Yep.
Stats. But more importantly, you're going to help us break this down and find out how to upgrade it and give us a lot of really great ideas for where to take this deck.
That's right. I like it. I am absolutely going to do that, DJ.
So the first thing we have to start off with is this is a very thematic deck.
Yes.
This is all new, crazy art. 40K is a property outside of the Magic universe, and this deck looks amazing and is full of flavor. I have to admit, though, I am not a 40K expert. Are you a 40K player?
Not anymore. I used to play. I used to be a regional manager for Games Workshop.
What?
A long time ago.
Story time.
And story time. Yeah, so I'm familiar with it. I'm not as caught up probably, but I kind of get it. Nurgles and Chaos Demons were my favorite of them.
Okay.
So I definitely enjoyed upgrading this deck.
So some of the other people in the Command Zone office, when they upgraded this deck, they were very into the flavor. Were you into the flavor, or were you thinking about this more from a commander player perspective? I
definitely approached this more from a commander player perspective, but found a reason to find flavor in my choices for the most part.
Okay, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Okay, so in order to get a good grasp on the start of this deck, let's first take a look at the commanders. There are 2 legendary creatures that are in the right colors to helm this deck as is. And then there's a bunch of other legendary creatures that you can't really substitute into the deck because they're mono red, mono black, or, just 2 of the 3 colors. Exactly. So let's go ahead and talk about the face commander first.
That's right. So for the face commander, we have Abaddon the Despoiler. It is 2 blue, black, red for a 5/5 legendary creature. It's a warrior. I don't know how to say the other part.
No, give it a try.
Astartes.
You used to assistant manage a Games
hang that
Workshop.
up on me.
You're going to have to say it, and people are going to correct you in the comments.
It was not called that back in my day. Astartes is what I would go with. Astartes, a warrior, and it has trample. And then basically almost all of the cards in this deck have a specific new mechanic specifically for the card, and most of them are not the same. So this one has Mark of Chaos Ascendant.
Oh, that cool, like, flavory type mechanic where you
Yes.
like label the cool mechanic. I like that.
And so this one says, during your turn, spells you cast from your hand with the mana value X or less have Cascade, where X is the total amount of life your opponents have lost this turn.
Okay, so in order for me to play a spell and give it Cascade, I have to deal that much damage exactly? That much damage or more?
That much damage or less.
So I need to deal a ton of damage so I can cast whatever big spell I want in my hand.
Right.
And then cascade into the biggest thing possible.
Exactly. But you also still have to have the mana for it.
Ooh, okay.
For what you're casting to cascade into. It
Okay.
gets a little complicated.
So you need to be able to deal damage, and if that costs mana, that's some part of your
Right.
resources. And then you can start doing your cool cascade thing.
Right.
Got it. Okay. Let's look at our other Grixis commander that we can lead with.
Yes, the other one we have is Belacor. It sounds like a liquor. Belacor, the Dark Master. It's 3 blue, black, red for a 6/5 Demon Noble. Very fancy. He is flying, and there's 2 different like special fun flavor mechanics. One is Prince of Chaos. When Belacor, the Dark Master, enters the battlefield, you draw X cards and you lose X life, where X is the number of demons you control. It's a demon tribal.
Cool.
The second ability is Lord of Torment. Whenever another demon enters the battlefield under your control, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. So it's War, Storm, Surge on a creature.
Or like Terror of the Peaks or,
Oh, yeah.
or something like that. Yeah. That's a powerful effect.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a very heavily costed commander. Like 6 mana is definitely a lot, but it has a big effect. Immediately drawing cards and then providing some damage dealing stuff. Okay, so it looks like we're taken in 2 completely different areas. We've got like deal damage, cascade into value,
Right.
and then we've got like demon tribal.
Demon tribal, yeah, absolutely.
It definitely feels like that's 2 different things. And the first guy is not even a demon.
Yeah. He's not a demon, could care less about them. The one that is demon tribal does care about them. And honestly, like, both of them are great commanders. I feel like I would be happy running either of them in the deck.
Okay, so we're going to explore the deck a little bit more and find out if we're being moved in the direction of deal a lot of damage so we can cascade, or, hey, this deck is chock full of demons. And so we'll break that down a little bit later. But we have some more legendary creatures to cover. And again, these cannot immediately slot into the helm of your commander deck because they're not all the right colors.
That's right. All right. So do you want to read the next one? Or?
No, go for it.
All right.
Go on,
Yay.
yeah.
It's all mine. I have Karn the Betrayer.
Karn?
Yeah, exactly.
Karn's
Right? Karn has made an appearance. It's a different Karn. It has like the A with like the little,
Umlauts?
maybe it's a little triangle above it pointing
Those
up.
are not umlauts. The triangle. Karn.
Karn.
We're doing this totally wrong. We need a 40K expert in here as stat. Okay, so Karn.
So Karn the Betrayer, it's 3 in red for a 5/1 Astartes Berserker. And its first ability says, Berserker. Karn the Betrayer attacks or blocks each combat if able. So has to attack or block. Pretty simple. And then it has Sigil of Corruption. When you lose control of Karn the Betrayer, draw 2 cards. But why would you lose control?
Why? I'm assuming there's more text.
But I have more text for you. The Betrayer. If damage would be dealt to Karn the Betrayer, prevent that damage and an opponent of your choice gains control of it.
Okay, so it's a great blocker because, it doesn't take any damage. But as soon as it does take damage, I have to donate it to someone else.
That's right.
And then if I donate it to someone and they get attacked, they have to block with it and it gets sent over to someone else. And if it goes around to their turn, then they have to attack with it.
Yes.
And if it's dealt damage, it's also passed around.
Wow,
this is going to pass around a lot.
And when you lose control of it, you draw 2 cards. So each person who loses control of it draws 2 cards.
That's a lot of, this feels very group huggy.
Yeah.
Like you're just going to give 2 cards to almost everyone as it goes around. And it's not necessarily going to come back to you.
Unless it is a person of your choice. So you could make some political deals maybe, but it's definitely it's going to get passed around.
Interesting. Okay.
All right. So next up we have Magnus the Red, which is 3 blue red, and it is a 4/5 demon Primarch. Primarch. One of those. It has flying, and it says unearthly power. Instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each creature token you control.
Okay. Mana reduction is a powerful ability.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does this have a lot of tokens in it?
This deck, no, not really.
Oh,
it can do some. There's some, but
like that's not a main strategy.
Yeah,
okay, so
it is
we're not
not a
going to be
token
reducing our mana cost by that much.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then it has Blade of the Magnus. Whenever Magnus the Red deals combat damage to a player, create a 3/3 red spawn creature token.
It makes a token.
It does make a token for itself. And it does it on combat damage, so. And it has flying, so evasion, so it'll hit sometimes.
Okay, so I can see where this is going, where we're getting more narrow as we go down in the number of colors. Like we have a combat, donate, political thing. We've got something that kind of like just have Prismari that kind of synergizes with tokens and tokens and spells and stuff like that. All right, let's keep going.
All right, and next we have Lucius the Eternal for 3 black red for a 5/3 haste creature, and it has the special ability Armor of the Shrieking Souls. When Lucius the Eternal dies, exile it and choose target creature an opponent controls. When that creature leaves the battlefield, return Lucius the Eternal from exile to the battlefield under its owner's control. So
I have a really important question for you.
Okay.
Are you purposely avoiding the creature type on these cards?
Maybe. Is that a must? Do we have to know?
I was just wondering. It's just a really important question. Okay.
It is an Astrades warrior.
This is another sort of chaotic, cascadey kind of thing.
Yes.
Okay, so I can see that. Similar to the first one, where dealing with combat and you're not afraid to throw it into combat, right?
Right, exactly. Okay. War, power, violence.
War, power, violence. Okay, themes. I'm picking up themes in this deck right there. War, power, violence. Got it. All right, what's the last legendary to round out this section?
All right, so we have Mortarian Demon Primarch for 5 and a black. It's a 5/6 Demon Primarch with flying, and it has Primarch of the Death Guard. At the beginning of your end step, you may pay X. If you do, create X 2/2 black Astartes warrior creature tokens with menace. X can't be greater than the amount of life you lost this turn.
This seems really synergistic. I mean, it's all about life loss, but wait a second. Our main commander, the face commander, wants your opponents to lose life. This is about our own life that we lost.
Exactly.
But, maybe we have some ways where everything loses life or everyone loses life. It does create tokens for some of the other stuff. So I'm seeing some strategies kind of weave together here, but I'm still feeling like a lot of these are doing different things.
Maybe they're a little chaotic?
Is chaotic like the theme that's kind of moving through? Oh,
yes.
Here?
Yeah, it is the Lords of Chaos. That is who Abaddon serves, is the 4 Lords of Chaos, which we will get into later.
Ooh, okay, interesting. So a little bit of a chaotic element to the deck.
Yes.
All right, so we've got all the legendaries there, but only 2 to actually choose from if you want an easy way to start off this deck, because only 2 of them are Grixis and have all of the colors that we need.
Yes.
Now, in order to understand this deck a little bit better, we need to break it down. We need to find out the stats.
I'll be the last one. All right. So, yes, looking at the stats of the deck right out of the box, we have 10 ramp.
Well, that's what we want, right?
Lots of ramp.
Great.
I feel like we might want a little bit more. There's a lot of big CMC creatures towards the end there.
Demons do tend to run bigger, and if we are going to play a burn spell or a damage spell and then cascade, we might want a lot of mana. Okay. Yeah, but 10's a good starting point.
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. 12 card draw.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really good. Okay.
We also have 14 single target removals.
That's really high.
I love to hear it.
Wait, you think that 14 is, you love to hear 14? I'm thinking that's too high. Where are we going here?
Well, because we don't want to board wipe necessarily all the time, especially if we're trying to cascade into things. And if you cascade into board wipe after board wipe, that's not great. But single target removal, you'll be able to pinpoint issues on the board to deal with them.
Okay.
I'm also the type of person who sits in the less board wipes in the deck, more single target removal.
Well, let's talk about the board wipes. How many board wipes are in the deck?
There are 4.5 is what I put.
I mean, that's pretty solid too. So there's a lot of ways to answer the board.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that does work a little bit in our favor if we are trying to deal damage. If we do have these big demons, other decks might swarm us when we're just trying to ramp up to a big demon.
Exactly.
And so we might need to board wipe or take out something relevant and then land a more chonky threat.
Yeah, and I will say for the single target removals, it's typically with this deck, it's deal damage to any target.
That's what I was thinking,
yeah.
right? Like it's a lot of it is damage dealt, and so you can just like turn it face and then be able to cascade with it.
Exactly.
Good. If your utility, like single target removal or board wipes, can be flexible and move into your synergy or your strategy, then it means that your deck's going to feel more well-rounded and it's going to match up to your commander a little bit better. Okay, so speaking of which, we want to identify some of the synergies involved, some of the commander-specific cards. We've noticed that Cascade is important. So how many things synergize with Cascade?
So right now in the deck, there are 12 different things that cascade or they have a cascade effect.
That's
on
a
them.
lot.
Right, which is good because we don't want to just rely on our commander for it.
That's okay. That's great. So Cascade is definitely at the top of the list when it comes to like themes. But our commander cascades when we deal that direct damage. So how much burn is in the deck that facilitates that cascade?
How much burn you say? I say 18. 18 different types of burn.
Wow.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
A lot of burn.
Okay. Is this a burn deck?
I could be.
Okay, very cool. We also have this other commander, this other Grixis commander, and it synergizes with demons. So how many demons are in the deck?
Right. So if we're looking at the Bellacord guy, thing, monster, Primarch, noble.
Got it.
We're looking for demons, and we have 15 in the deck. It's a decent amount of demons.
That's a nice little like category. And I think that, look, if you're in an elf deck, you have like 20, 25 elves or something like that. But with demons, like you don't want that many. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then your deck becomes way too top heavy and it's really difficult to do everything. And so that feels like a nice sub theme. I'm pretty sure that you could lean into it and get a little bit more demons going on.
Totally.
But for the most part, that seems like a solid inclusion, but it is feeling like there's more burn and more cascade.
Right. I definitely got that sense as well. And because of that, if you're looking at Cascade, the other thing that's important is, how do you utilize Cascade? And one of those things is enter the battlefield abilities.
Got it. Because you want to be able to get that value immediately, kind of.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
So for the ETB effects, we have 8 different cards that have ETB effects on them.
Okay. Some demons have some really good ETBs.
Right.
Things like that. I can see that. All right, so I'm getting a picture of this deck right now. Starting off just talking about the legendaries, I definitely felt a little bit imbalanced, like, are we doing tokens? Are we doing attack and stuff like that? But now when I see these stats, I'm getting a better picture of what this deck is designed to do. Okay, but before we get into what commander you've chosen and all of those awesome cards you're adding into, we have to find out if this deck is good value. Because if you're looking at picking this up, you want to know, what are the important reprints? Is this deck worth it? Well, here's the thing. It's a little bit tricky. The reason why is because if we look at the amount of reprints in this specific deck and all of the 40K decks, it's way different than other commander precons. And so if you bring your knowledge of what a deck's number of reprints should be and what the value should be, it's not going to match up. So to put it into perspective, old commander decks usually have between 60 and 70 reprints.
Right.
Like a lot of reprints, right?
Yeah, a ton.
Yeah. This deck has 34 reprints.
Half the amount.
Half the amount.
Right.
Okay. So it's basically cutting that value, that reprint value that we're used to looking at, in half, which can be crazy. Okay. So first off, let's just start with the bare numbers, that low reprint value. Let's talk about what the value is, and then we'll try to put it in perspective a little bit later. So the total amount of reprints, these 34 reprints, is $42. Okay. And that sounds kind of low.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the last one I did was like 80 at least.
Exactly. And just to put that in perspective, if we were to look back at old pre-constructed decks, the average is around $80, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay. So this coming in at $42 doesn't stack up. So one thing that we've done in order to compare apples to apples instead of apples to oranges or bananas or other, what's your favorite fruit?
Oh gosh, you're putting me on the
kiwi,
spot.
pineapple.
Nope, probably strawberries.
Peaches, strawberries.
Or
Okay,
bananas.
good. So apples to strawberries would be to figure out these numbers a little bit more. So what we've done is we've extrapolated the deck price. What we've done is we've taken these 34 reprints totaling $42 and said, hey, what if these were actually the same number of reprints as a different commander deck. What if we just kind of said, hey, instead of this being 32 reprints, what if it was between 60 and 70 reprints? And so extrapolating that deck price, we come to $65.
Okay.
Which is better, but still doesn't reach
under.
that $80
Right.
threshold that we're looking for. And so the reprint value doesn't quite add up to what we're really looking for in this type of deck. One thing that we also did, though, is look at the new cards.
Okay.
It's really difficult for us to talk about the new cards and what they're going to be valued at right now, because this is recorded way before things are released and prices change like crazy when they're first introduced.
Right. And these are brand new cards
And most of these are brand new cards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if we were to take what we expect these brand new cards to have, the average price of brand new cards across all of the data that Command Zone has collected, then we anticipate the interpolated price to be around $85.
Okay.
Which is, again, a little bit low because we kind of think that the deck's value is going to fall somewhere in between that spectrum of $65 and $85. Of course, there could be a bomb in here and everyone goes crazy for it and it spikes the price. But we're just looking at numbers. We're looking at value. We're looking at data because we've collected this data for like all the commander decks. So I think that this is hitting close to that $80 number. Mm-hmm. We've seen a lot of commander decks be like $100, $110. So this might be on the lower end when it comes to financial value. Of course, you're going to be the one that's going to be able to decide looking at the numbers right now when this is released. And honestly, looking at the cards to find out whether the new cards are things that you're interested in, because the majority of this value comes from those new cards.
Right.
Okay. That was a lot of explanation when it comes to financial value, but we know that you guys care about the numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's one thing you want to do. We want to be transparent and tell you the numbers and say how we got all of this data. And so those are the numbers. And hopefully there's some great stuff in here. We're going to talk about that great stuff right now. What are the cards that are worth more than $2 in this deck? Because some of these reprints are solid and you might want them.
Yeah, so as far as notable reprints go, we have at the highest amount right now is Chromatic Lantern, which I was actually surprised. I had no idea it cost $11. But
we've been kind of taking 3 mana rocks out of our decks.
We have. All
Anyways,
right,
moving on.
The other notable reprints are going to be Talisman of Dominance at $4.35, Talisman of Indulgence at $4.20.
Those have been the 2 mana rocks we've been putting into our deck.
Right?
Okay, so those are really solid reprints. Okay, good.
And we got them. And then we also have Reverberate shows up at $3.55. Decree of Pain is $2.95. And then we have Blasphemous Act at $2.60.
So these are actually really solid staples that can round out a commander deck, which is actually why you see them here. That's one thing I've noticed in these 40K decks is that we really have sort of like bread and butter, eat your vegetables type cards that they're reprints, and all the cool stuff is like brand new cool stuff. By the way, if you like these cards, these reprints are going to be amazing because they're all new art.
Yes.
The flavor in this is fantastic.
Absolutely. Like we'll talk about it later, but
Okay,
yeah.
so what do you think of these reprints, Ashlen?
I think the reprints are great. The talismans are always really exciting to see get reprinted because we're putting them in all of our decks. And so any type of mana rock getting reprinted usually feels pretty good.
What do you think of the total like numbers of this deck, the financial value of it?
Financial value of the deck, for me personally, I'm going to say that it doesn't matter as much to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're buying this not for financial value. You're buying this for a different reason.
I am buying it purely because it is a 40K deck and is completely themed out to be that. And I think that because of that, I'm able to look past the reprint value of it.
The value's in the new cards. It's in the cool art. It's in the theme of it. And is it a little bit disappointing that the financial value isn't as high as maybe what you're expecting?
I would say a little bit, just because, there's always certain reprints that we're looking for, but at the end of the day, it's okay.
Little bit grumpy, but overall still satisfied and happy with the deck.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Okay. Let's start talking about the commander. Okay. We got 2 choices. We've got Damage Cascade. We've got Demons. Both of them seem cool. Both of them have support in this deck. Break them down. Which one have you chosen to lead this deck?
All right. So I chose the good old Abaddon, the Despoiler.
Okay.
The reason why is because when I was looking at the deck in like totality, it really felt like the mana curve was built to support Cascade.
Okay.
It just felt like it was there. There's a lot of single target removal and burn that they kind of coexist together and mishmash, but it all works really well with that commander specifically. Whereas with B. LaCour, it's just a nice to have. The demon, like when I was considering it, because I thought that this card could also be a good commander, but I have a demon tribal deck and I just felt like
not enough blue demons out there.
Not enough blue demons, and I felt like we could take it. I felt like this deck just serves better as Abaddon. And plus Abaddon in this deck, if B. LaCour was the commander, he's not a demon. He does nothing.
So one thing is that I know that you have some breakdown of Cascade for us, and you're going to go deep into that. But I also think that like upgrading this to make the Cascade work, it's like it feels a little bit more interesting and intricate. And when you're just like looking at the demon tribal, you're like, all right, what are the best demons?
Right.
I feel like if you want to build a demon deck, like go search up cool demons, you know what I mean? And slot them in this deck, round it out. It'll be a pretty easy upgrade. And so you wanted to find the upgrade that maybe is a little bit more interesting for the commander that does something a little bit unique.
Right.
Am I on target with that?
Absolutely. I woke up and chose pain as the thing I wanted to do today. It was definitely very MacGyver-y, and like up until we recorded this, I had everything spread out. And I'm like, okay, this is this CMC and this, and here we go.
Well, why don't you walk us through the CMC and your breakdown for how you built this deck and how you structured it up?
Okay, so the CMC is just straight out of the box. We're going to be looking at all of everything in its casting costs. And so right at the 1-drops, we have 5 1-drops. We have 5 2-drops. We have 8 3-drops, 15 4-drops, 16 5-drops, and 10 6-drops. There is like an X card in there, but if we just cast X for 0, it's 6. So I just decided to put it there. 1, just to keep it simple, 1 7-drop, 1 9-drop, and 1 11-drop.
Okay. So I like the idea that there's only 3 sort of super big drops on here, but it definitely feels like there's a chunk in the middle where it's like 15, 16, 10, right?
Right, exactly. And one of the...
Is that good or bad?
I think that's good.
Okay.
Because with Cascade, whatever you're cascading, you want to make sure that you have a high density of CMC that's like right below that. So if I want to cast a 5-drop and get a 4-drop, or I want to cast a 6-drop and get a 5-drop, but there's always that chance that I cascade into the 1 or 2-drop. Right? Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Which, I mean, there's
so
not
that means
too
I
many.
just cut all of my 1s and 2s?
Absolutely not.
So really, like, there's a critical balance here when it comes to Cascade. How do you manage that? Like, how do you navigate that?
It's difficult. You have to figure out what of your lower drops, like your 2-drops, your 1-drops, what of those are good to get at any point in the game? Like late game, am I happy to get this 1-drop?
Okay.
Am I happy to drop this 2? And you have to be able to utilize them. So you really have to kind of pay attention to every single card in the deck and evaluate how it affects the game.
So really, like, 1s, 2s, and 3s are getting extra scrutiny from you.
Yes.
And you want them to be very useful at a lot of points in the game.
Right.
And have a lot of utility or be really critical to the deck. Whereas 4s, 5s, and 6s can be more synergy pieces or be those cool flavor, maybe a demon in there.
Exactly.
And that's actually okay.
Right. You can cast a 4-drop, 5-drop that's going to let you cascade into the more key utility parts of the deck and still have these big, splashy, powerful effects.
Very cool. Okay, we're going to get into all of those really powerful effects. We're going to go over those 10 cards in, 10 cards out. But before we do, we're going to hear a quick word from our sponsor.
Ambassador Blorpity Blorp Boop, we need you at the embassy.
Finally, our negotiations with the Rum Dudley Flumbersons may yield a lasting peace. Thanks to the skilled team of economic and political officers I hired on Indeed. With Indeed, I was able to attract, interview, and hire all in one place, making it the ideal ticket to find employees who will really stick, or as I like to call them, stickers. I found strong talent fast without breaking the embassy budget, thanks to tools like Instant Match, assessments, and of course, virtual interviews, which saved me days on hiring without any additional downloads, purchases, plugins, or Goober students.
Ambassador, the Heptapoots are attacking Blorp Prime!
Then today, our people go to war.
Indeed knows when you're growing your own business, you have to make every dollar count. That's why when you sponsor a job, you only pay for quality applications from resumes in our database matching your job description. Visit Indeed.com/CommandZone to start hiring now. Just go to Indeed.com/CommandZone. Again, Indeed.com/CommandZone. Terms and conditions apply. Cost per application pricing not available for everyone. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Look, Seven, autumn is finally here. So let's celebrate the season with fall's most craved flavor, pumpkin!
Ren, no! Please don't eat me!
Oh, I won't, little pumpkin pal. Why, you and I could have the pumpkin feast for two from Factor, the service that delivers fresh, never frozen meals ready to eat in just 2 minutes.
Oh, hooray!
With Factor, Seven and I can both eat our fill without having to shop, clean, or gouge out and cook your insides.
Not my insides!
Exactly. Factor is cheaper and faster than takeout. And with 30 plus meal choices each week, you can spice things up while staying on top of your food goals, thanks to options like vegan, keto, calorie smart, and protein plus. In fact, now that I've fueled up with Factor, I'm energized and ready for the Harvesttide Festival.
Please don't sacrifice me!
No promises.
Oh, no!
Head to go.factor75.com/command60 and use code command60 to get 60% off your first box. That's code command60 at go.factor75.com/command60 to get 60% off your first box.
Welcome, slumbering fools, to the dream world, where I, Ashiok Nightmare Muse, can give you any nightmare I wish. And my favorite, you're speaking in front of a class and realize you're in your underwear. The shame. Of course, if you're wearing MeUndies, that nightmare may be a dream come true, especially with MeUndies' latest Halloween collection. I warn you, they are scary. Scary soft. So don't miss their limited edition prints like Jack Attack or Spell It Out. Available in undies, socks, bralettes, and more. And everything is made with the frighteningly comfortable micromodal fabric. Plus, if you slept on your Halloween shopping and need a last-minute costume, you can transform into a spooky skeleton with their Lazy Bones loungewear set. Match with your boo or an animal familiar in sizes from extra small to 4XL to make it your softest Halloween ever.
The scary soft hype is real, everyone. If you're not impressed with MeUndies, your first pair is on us. That's a promise. To get 20% off your first order and free standard shipping on US orders, go to MeUndies.com/command. That's MeUndies.com/command.
All right, welcome back. We are upgrading this pre-constructed deck, and we have gone to the part where we're going to find out what 10 cards you're going to put in, what 10 cards you're taking out. But before we do, there's been a lot of concern with flavor because this deck is full of it.
So much flavor.
Now, we have other people at the Command Zone that really know their flavor, know these decks. We might be a little bit on the outside. So what kind of flavor did you add to these choices?
So for flavor of these choices, first of all, Abaddon, and this whole deck is kind of Chaos Demon based. Abaddon is kind of the leader of it all, and he serves 4 Lords of Chaos in Warhammer lore.
Are they Lords of Chaos Demons?
No, I think they're just Lords, actually.
Okay.
I mean, they do produce Chaos Demons.
Oh,
so
Lords, they produce Chaos Demons. So this deck being full of demons and full of this thing is pretty on
spot.
Oh, okay, cool.
On par.
So at first when I was feeling like it was disjointed, like Cascade or demons, really like the Lords of Chaos produce these demons and they're a big part of this army.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So everyone that knows 40K was like, DJ, you don't understand this deck.
The Lords are pleased, DJ.
Now I do. Okay. So what are these Lords that he serves?
So the four Lords of Chaos are based around Wrath and Violence, Pleasure and Pain, Change and Secrets, and Death and Decay.
Some of these are opposites and some of them are not.
Right.
Does that bother you?
It's chaos, baby.
Chaos. You're right. Okay. Cool. All right. So basically you don't know everything about 40K, but going into your choices, you're like, all right, I'm gonna think about these sort of
those four things
of Wrath, Violence, Pleasure, Pain, Change, Secrets, Death, and Decay.
Yes.
Awesome. All right.
As well as, I will say, yep. And we're also considering, again, the CMCs of these cards.
Ooh, you're right. Okay.
Yeah.
So as we're going through, we're going to be paying attention to the converted mana cost, the mana value of these cards, so that we know like what we're cascading into and paying attention to that. Perfect.
Yep. Like there's reasons why I chose certain cards to fit into replacing cards I'm taking out that match the same CMC, because that was the other level of this balancing act.
Well, you replaced the exact same CMC of the cards you took out?
I either did that, or if like I was like, oh, we have too many 1-drops, I'm going to cut a 1 and add to the 3.
So you were very conscious about what you added. Okay. Well, let's jump into it. What's the first card that you added to this deck?
All right. First up, we have Baleful Strix. It is a blue and a black for a 1/1 artifact creature bird. It has flying and death touch, and when it enters the battlefield, you draw a card. So that to me is
solid.
Great 2-drop. Like we want to cascade into that. That's wonderful. Late game, early game, give it to me.
Okay, like just a solid 2-drop. Anything else besides just solid 2-drop, or?
Oh, yes, actually, a Baleful Strix. A Strix in mythology is a bird of ill omen. So, you know, and also,
I'm always happy to draw the owl. I don't know why that.
Right?
It's a bird of ill omen.
That's just.
I mean, it does look pretty scary.
It looks very scary and intimidating. It does have death touch.
Oh, okay, you're right.
So,
very ill omen. You're right. Okay, so fits sort of flavorfully with that. Is it a perfect fit?
I mean, it feeds on human flesh, if Strixes do. So, I mean, I feel like
I like that.
I feel like it counts.
Okay, I like that a lot. You also said a little bit that you want to make sure to be able to stabilize the board, because we do have sort of a higher curve going on.
Right.
And so being able to have a 2-drop that has death touch might be able to send some people other places while you can curve into your big cascades or your big demons.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, what's the next card we got?
Next up, we have Blood Speaker for 3 and a black. It's a 3/2 Ogre Shaman, and it says, at the beginning of your upkeep, you may sacrifice Blood Speaker. If you do, search your library for a demon card, reveal that card, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. And then...
keep going.
Oh, yeah, there's more. At the end of it, it says, whenever a demon comes into play under your control, return Blood Speaker from the graveyard to your hand.
It's just like a perfect demon tribal card.
Yeah, it's a little tutor.
I did not know that this existed.
I love this card. I have it actually in my demon tribal deck. And what's great about it in this is because thematically, like you always say blood for the blood god, right? 40K.
I always say that whenever I'm out and about. And when I go get my coffee, I go blood for the blood god, and I take my first drink.
I mean, who doesn't, right?
Yeah.
And so if it's blood for the blood god, you have to have someone who can speak to the blood god. So why not a blood speaker?
Oh my gosh. That fits perfectly.
Thank you. I know.
Great stuff. Okay. And we have a nice toolbox of demons in here too, like a lot to choose from. So being able to tutor up exactly what you need and do it over. Late game, this is going to go crazy.
Exactly.
Because you just like tutor and then bring it back over and over and over.
Right.
Again. You need a lot of mana to do it though.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Or at least like each turn, bring a demon back. Bring it back out of your graveyard somehow. And just, keep recurring it.
Love it.
All right. So next up, nope, wrong way. Next up, we have Solemn Simulacrum. It is a 4 for a 2/2 artifact creature golem. When it enters the battlefield, you get to search a library for a land card and put it onto the battlefield tapped. When it dies, you may draw a card.
Solemn's just a staple. Is there a reason why you chose it specifically for this deck?
I tried to find a smart way to tie it into the deck thematically, and there is not. They are not robot people. The Chaos Demons and Legion do not care for robots. And so honestly, I just needed good ramp to put into the deck. So this is one of those, we're going to look past the fact that it's not thematically on and just put it in.
You don't have to always be thematically on. But one thing that you noticed is that you need ramp and you don't care if it's at 4.
Right.
And a lot of the things that you mentioned before is you wanted that ETB value, like you mentioned that. And so you want the thing that has ETB value, and also having the body as a roadblock, just like the Baleful Strix, is something that you're excited about.
Yeah. Totally.
Sounds good.
Fills that
What's up
slot.
next?
Next up, we have Delayed Blast Fireball.
You got some spicy ones in here. These are some readers. Okay.
I know. I was like, today we're reading. The library is open, and it is 1 red for an instant. It says, Delayed Blast Fireball deals 2 damage to each opponent and each creature they control. If this spell was cast from exile, it deals 5 damage to each opponent and each creature they control instead. Typically, you would do this with its foretell cost, which is 4 red. But
it's one of those things where you have a bigger foretell cost. You have to foretell for 2, and then it's a 6 mana big board wipe. Or
that does 5 damage to each player.
That's a big,
which Abaddon does care about.
Even 2 damage to each player Abaddon would care about
Right,
too.
you still get 6.
That's great.
Yeah, and if you cascade into it,
That's casting from exile.
yeah, you do 15 damage total.
Oh my
I'll take
gosh,
it.
it works on all fronts.
It's glorious.
And it's got that, like you were talking about as well, like feeling like you're pressured in the early game. Like you could theoretically just play this for 3 and have this be like this little mini board wipe.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Okay, so it's a mini board wipe that protects you, which is what you want. It deals a bunch more damage than its mana cost because it hits all opponents, causing your commander to be able to cascade into bigger things faster. It has an increased effect when cast from exile, which means that you can either set up some even bigger damage or bigger board wipe protecting everything, or cascade into it with your commander and deal a ton of damage. It does everything on all fronts.
Yes.
You found the perfect card. Good job.
I was so proud of that one. Yeah,
Good job.
All right, and again, it's a bunch of violence and war, so I feel like that just slots right in.
Absolutely.
So next up, we have Nalfashne. How do you say? How would you say that?
Nalfashne.
Nalfashne.
Yes.
Okay, I appreciate the support.
We're buddies. We're Nalfashne. The support. Is that salty because I did not support you on the creature types at all?
No, you did. I meant it. Nalfashne. Sorry, it just sounds so funny. I was saying it different earlier and I can't remember.
I mean, it's knee at the end.
Nalfashne, there we go.
Nalfashne.
Nalfashne is 5 and a red for a 4/6 creature beast demon. So it's a demon. It has flying, and whenever you cast a spell from exile, copy it.
Demon with exile synergies. I'm surprised this wasn't in the precon to begin with.
It's so good.
Perfect fit. All right.
And it also has, if it's a permanent spell, copy it against haste at the beginning of your instep, you sacrifice the permanent. But either way, you're copying your cascades. It's beautiful.
Very cool. Perfect fit. The only thing is that it is expensive.
It is
expensive. It's a lot of mana. Not expensive in price though. No. Nalfashne is 40 cents.
Oh my gosh, we have not been seeing the prices for any of these, everyone. I'm so sorry, but the editors put them on the screen. All right.
That's good. Delayed Blast Fire is expensive. What happened?
I don't know.
It's great. I mean, I love
a good card.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. It's 310.
All right. Next up is Aurora Phoenix. It is 4 red for a 5/3 Phoenix. It has flying and says it cascades. And then whenever you cast a spell with Cascade, return Aurora Phoenix from your graveyard to your hand.
Aurora Phoenix only comes in at 10 cents. Obviously, it works with Cascade. You're going to be casting this thing over and over again, cascading into other things. Sounds great.
Yeah. Thematically, it checks the death box for Chaos as well, because it dies a lot.
Yeah, Phoenix, that's kind of their jam. Phoenixes.
Yeah, dying.
Yeah, dying and, coming back too.
Yeah, we don't
I think
have to
they're
worry
more
about
defined by the coming back.
Are they?
Okay.
Not in this one. Are we making a paper plane?
No, it's a Phoenix.
Oh, I love that. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Next up.
All right, next up, we have Profane Tutor at $1.90. This card reads, it's a sorcery. Suspend 2 for 1 and a black, and then search your library for a card, put that card into your hand, then shuffle.
Demonic Tutor for only $1.90.
For only $1.90. And if you cascade, but if you cascade into it, it's free.
I love these effects, cascading into it. I like that this is really worth the cascade. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, no matter where you are in the game or what point in time, you just being able to get exactly what you want. Yes, you'll take that. That's great. And if it happens to fit into your curve where you just say like, all right, I'll suspend it right now, that's also great.
Yeah.
So it ticks all those boxes of being good at all points in the game.
Right, exactly. If you want to search up a demon because you're set up next turn to use it to cascade into something later on, it does it for you.
Perfect. Similarly,
we have Inevitable Betrayal.
Can you say it again, but with a lot of gravitas?
Inevitable Betrayal. For 30 cents. And this card reads, I got very excited. This card reads, it's a sorcery, suspend 3, or you can pick 4 1 colorless blue, and it says search target opponent's library for a creature card and put that card onto the battlefield under your control.
Bribery. Bribery is an expensive card.
Bribery is an expensive card.
Okay, and this card is coming in at 30 cents.
30 cents.
And you're going to cascade into it, so it's basically free. So instead of spending 5 mana and a bunch of dollars, you're going to be paying 30 cents and getting this effect for free. So good.
And taking one of your opponents, it might as well read search your opponent's library for their best end gamer and put it onto the battlefield.
There's some good big fat creatures in the pre-constructed decks.
Oh,
so
yeah.
just if you're playing this against your friends, everyone with their own 40k deck, like they're going to be hurting when you cast this spell.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Not to mention, this is a great effect in high-powered commander tables because you're like, oh, that expensive Eldrazi you have over there,
I was just
Ashlen.
thinking that.
That really nice Eldrazi. I will take one, please. Thank you.
I shall have that.
Great.
Yes. All right, next up, we have Price of Progress for 1 and a red for an instant. The instant reads, Price of Progress deals damage to each player equal to twice the number of non-basic lands that player controls.
Ooh, okay. This is...
and it's $2.90.
Okay. I really like this card because there are so many of you out there that are greedy, that don't play your basics, and you deserve a lot of damage because of it. All your fancy mana bases out there. Actually, you have a pretty fancy mana base here too.
It's not actually...
You're going to take a little bit of damage when you cast this, right?
Yes, you are, but you're also rewarded for like just upgrading the precon, right? Because it still has a ton of basic lands. I think it only has 14 non-basics, which is still a decent amount of damage.
20 damage, just kidding. You're not going to have all of them. But this can deal a ton of damage, and it's only 2 mana, and that's what your commander wants. Damage for very little mana, which lets you facilitate like all your cascade shenanigans.
Absolutely.
And it's a 2-drop that it's really good in the late game.
Oh, yeah.
So if you cascade into it, you're just like, oh, late game, I'm okay to cast this 2-drop.
Yeah, I late game, I kill everyone. Oops, my bad, sorry.
Fantastic. All right, the final card and the most expensive card on your list.
Saved the best for last. And that's going to be Chandra, Torch of Defiance for 2 red. She is a planeswalker with 4 loyalty. Her +1 is exile the top card of your library. You may cast that card from exile. If you don't, Chandra deals 2 damage to each opponent, which 2 damage to each opponent is what I'm looking at here. And then we have the +1 of add red to your mana pool. -3, Chandra deals 4 damage to target creature. And -7, you get an emblem with whenever you cast a spell, this emblem deals 5 damage to target creature or player. So we get ramp, we get damage to everyone, and
casting things from exile?
Yeah, which we have other cards we've added and that are under in the deck that care about that.
And you could just like take out a 4-drop, deal 4 damage to something. Just kidding. We're going to get ours with the ultimate. We're going to ultimate it, and that's how we're going to win the game. No, this just does a little bit of everything that we want. And Chandra also sits behind some of the defenses that we've already built into this, like that Baleful Stricture, that Solemn. Chandra sits behind there and just keeps getting us a little bit of value every single turn.
Right, exactly. And thematically, I tied her in by saying, Abaddon wants to watch the galaxy burn, and Chandra can absolutely help with that. So, right? Like,
Chandra just wants to start everything on fire, does she? Is that her character?
She does. Her hair's on fire.
She's part of the Gatewatch.
Gatewatch doesn't galaxy bound.
Okay, you're right.
This is Chandra's Dark Arc, okay?
Dark Arc Chandra. Just burn everything.
Right.
Love it. Okay, so together you add all of that up and you come out to a grand total of $25.60. You're even under budget.
Yeah.
Great job.
Somehow. It was great.
Okay, so these are the cards that you've chosen to put into this deck. Were there any cards that maybe like you were enticed by, but maybe like jumped out of the budget or maybe just didn't quite make the top 10?
Yeah, I had a couple actually. Wheel of Misfortune was one.
Oh, that's a good way to do damage and have access to tons more cards.
Yeah, it's just a fun way. I thought I was so tickled by that card, but it just didn't quite make the cut. And then also more cards that are like Progress,
Price of Progress.
There we go. Price of Progress, like Flame Rift,
burn spells kind of thing.
Volcanic Fallout style spells.
So if we wanted to make this deck a little bit more streamlined into making sure we have Cascade, would we up the burn count a little bit?
I would say you could.
Okay.
The problem with those burn spells is that they deal damage to you as well. So you just have to be very careful because early game, you're probably going to be taking some hits.
Okay. Sounds good.
And then just for flavor, Aeon Engine was really great if you want to dip into chaos.
Ooh. Oh, so you saw a couple of the lieutenants here, those other legendary creatures, maybe some of the demons, and you're like, look, the demons love chaos. We could have gone a little bit more chaos too.
Exactly. You could have gone and dip into the chaos, switch the turn order around. And
by the way, I really like Aeon Engine. I know that other people don't, but I think it's like the budget time walk where it's like,
oh yeah,
you can just get that extra turn. And someone across the table or, really, really has to go through a ton of pain for it to finally become their turn again.
Oh gosh, could you imagine everyone else is like a turn ahead of you?
Oh yeah, and it's about to be your turn and you're just like Just kidding.
Nope.
Uno reverse. And I
Just
draw
drop an
4.
Uno card.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, exactly. Oh man. Very cool.
And then 2 other cards. One of them was Neheb. Which one is it? It's Neheb, the one where you get mana.
Why not both?
Why not both? Yeah, well, because they're
Neheb the Eternal?
expensive. Yeah, Neheb the Eternal, I believe. Where you get mana equal to the amount of damage you've done.
Deal a bunch of damage, get the extra mana
Yeah.
you need in order to cast the spell afterwards.
Yes.
That way you can play your big spell that you're going to cascade into earlier. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good fit. I like that.
Yeah, so those were the honorable mentions.
Okay. Good stuff. All right, well, all of this is great. There's tons of cards that we could add to this deck, but it doesn't really do us any good if we don't know what cards to take out, right?
Absolutely.
So we definitely need to identify the cards that maybe aren't pulling their weight or maybe don't synergize with the strategy that you've picked and find out how to take them out. So what are the cards that you're giving a cut to?
All right, the ones that got the chop, the weakest links. The first one is going to be Wayfarer's Bauble.
No, that's ramp, Ashlen.
I
It gets cards on the
know.
battlefield.
If I
You said
cascade
it's a mana-hungry deck.
It is a mana-hungry deck, but if I cascade into a Wayfarer's Bauble, I'm not a happy camper.
No, you're really not. Because it doesn't even get you still need to invest more mana to get
Yes.
it onto the battlefield. And so this is definitely a really underwhelming hit when you're cascading into something.
Yeah, and we already have Worn Power Stone in the deck, and so it just felt like we could deal without one of those two.
You got the
And-
talismans in here too. That would be
Exactly.
really good. Okay. So you felt like your ramp was good enough?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we've set ourselves up. So the second card is Nurgle's Rot, which is a new card. It's 1 black and enchanted creature an opponent controls. When enchanted creature dies, return Nurgle's Rot to its owner's hand, and you create a 1/3 black demon creature token named Plague Bearer of Nurgle.
Got it. So if we happen to just do this over and over again and get a bunch of demons and play our backup commander, that could be good, but we're not playing that. So instead,
Right.
we just have a weird 1-drop that doesn't actually kill the creature, just might maybe get us a demon.
Exactly. It's not great. The third cut was Poxwalkers for 2 and a black. It's a 3/1 zombie with Death Touch. It has the ability Curse of Walking Pox. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, return Poxwalkers from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped.
Synergizes with Cascade stuff, right?
Yeah, it does. But again, when we're doing, it's a 3-drop, and we're trying to make sure to make sure those 3-drops are really cut and really cards we can utilize.
These zombies aren't beefy enough?
They are not.
They're not ripped enough?
No.
That's good. The zombie's got a 6-pack.
And yeah, he does, but we have better
Were
3
you
drops.
actually surprised that the zombie had a 6-pack?
I did not
it's
look
cut.
long enough.
That's a ripped zombie. Look
It
at
is
that.
a ripped
They're gonna
zombie,
see it.
several
They're gonna
ripped
see it really big.
zombies.
Okay. But 3/1 that you can get over and over again isn't impactful at your commander tables.
Right, and it enters the battlefield tapped. So it's kind of...
Oh, so you might actually think it'd be a good defensive thing if you could just bring it back all the time.
Right.
It was untapped. You could block, bring it, do your thing, bring it back, block for other stuff.
Totally.
But it doesn't even block that well.
No, it does not.
Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Although, these zombies, like cross-trainer zombies, are very scary.
They know what they're doing. They
They're
do
coming
not
back.
skip ab day.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So the next card we got was Tallyman of Nurgle. And this card is 2 and a black.
Nurgle not doing so well.
I
Nurgle's
know.
Okay.
My heart breaks, but they have to go.
Yeah.
It's a 2 and a black for a 2/3. It's an Astartes Warrior lifelink. It has the ability, the 7-fold chant. At the beginning of your instep, if a creature died this turn, you draw a card and lose 1 life. But it also says, if 7 or more creatures died this turn, instead you draw 7 cards and and lose 7 life.
I kind of like this
You
one.
like it?
What if I want to draw 7 cards and lose 7 life? Don't you?
Not really.
What? Griselbrand is banned for a reason. Come on.
But how often is that going to happen? Like, how likely is that going to happen?
You're right. What'll happen is that people will be like, well, we should board wipe. And then they'll be like, but then Ashlen will Griselbrand. And then people won't do it and they'll go after you or they'll kill this.
Right.
You are correct. But the dream, the Christmas.
The dream is the Griselbrand.
I would love to draw 7 cards and lose 7 life. I mean, here's the thing. The way that you really take advantage of this kind of thing is that you have more control over it yourself. Like you have a Yawgmoth Thran Physician deck and you're sacrificing stuff and drawing cards from Yawgmoth and also triggering this.
Oh, yeah.
Or and then as your going off in your aristocrats deck, you're sacrificing, 10 things to your Bolus Citadel or all these other things. You're pinging them. Then you're drawing and refilling your hand. I'm building it.
You're taking that? Okay.
I'm building a deck. Oh my gosh. But I know what you mean. I can see how in this deck, it's definitely not going to pull its way to the 3-drop sod.
Nope, it will not. But
I kind of want it to though. Let's just leave it in. Let's just leave it in and see what it does.
See.
Maybe it'll do something okay. Okay, let's move on to the next one.
It's going. All right. Next up is Venom Crawler. And that one is 3 and a black. It's a 2/2 creature demon, and it has lifelink and Devourer of Souls. Whenever another creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Venom Crawler. Which is okay. But it's okay.
That's just fine.
Yeah. This is our 4-drop slot.
Gravecrawler is a 1-drop. And it lets you have that sacrifice outlet, and it still puts the counter on it. What's this thing do? I mean, I guess they have it this way because it is lifelink.
Yeah.
But it's just whenever another creature dies. I mean, I guess it could be big.
Yeah. But then what? They're gonna just board wipe it, or I board wipe it myself when
people are just gonna kill it. It's not. It's not great. Doesn't do enough.
All right, and then we have Hellbrute. It is 3 red black. It's a 5/4 Astrades Dreadnought.
Ooh.
Has haste, and the special ability is Sarcophagus. You may cast Hellbrute from your graveyard by exiling another creature card from your graveyard, in addition to paying its other costs.
Okay.
So you can.
And that's it. It just is an attack.
That's it.
It's just an attacking dreadnought thing.
Right. That has recursion and haste.
So how aggressive is this deck? Because this is an aggressive card.
It is.
You know what I mean? You attack, they're I've got to get rid of it, and then you just cast it again and attack. How much do you want to be attacking for 5?
I mean, I would love to attack for 5 anytime, but the cost of this is you have to exile a card and pay its CMC again to put it out.
Yeah, so you're not you would love to attack for 5, but you would rather have another powerful effect. You don't want to pay 5 mana for a 5 power attacker.
Right. In Abaddon,
you're just it's not even a dragon. Come on.
Yeah, come on. Well, and plus it's okay. So let's say you have this card in your deck and it dies, right?
Yeah.
You exile a card, you pay its CMC to cast it. If you're trying to get an Abaddon trigger, this is not cast from your hand, so you don't even get to do the cascade with it.
Oh, now I like it less.
Yeah.
I want the trigger.
And it doesn't do it. And at 5 CMC, we want all of those big spells to hit into something.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, you're right.
Otherwise, it's fine.
Yep. Okay. What's next cut?
We have, so the next set is one of the legendaries. It's Matrarian Demon Primarch.
Just remind us what that is.
Yeah. It's a 5 black, 5/6 Demon Primarch. It has flying, and it also has Primarch, or the Death Guard, and this is the one that makes tokens. So at the beginning of your upkeep, at the beginning of your end step, you may pay X. If you do, create X 2/2 black Astrades Warrior tokens with Menace, where X can't be greater than the amount of life you lost this turn.
All right, so this one basically has our own life loss, and we don't, we might have the price of progress that we added to lose our life, but we are not built around losing our own life.
Right, we're not a deck where we want to kind of mess with our life total that much.
Okay.
And I would love it. It would be really good if it said, equal to the amount of life your opponents lost.
Oh man, that would be awesome.
It would be broken, but it's not.
But you still have to pay mana for them too. So
Sure.
It's not even like a Darien I know that's in white, but
Sure.
It's not even that effect. So yeah, I can see that. Get out of here. You're really expensive too. You're expensive
It's
and you
super
require
expensive.
more mana to start being good. Okay.
All right, next up is the one that made the 0.5 in the board wipes, because I do not consider it a full board wipe. And that is Bile Blight for black. It's an instant and says target creature and all other creatures with the same name as that creature get -3 until end of turn.
My persistent petitioner's deck. No. Oh. Okay, yeah. -3/-3. That's not even that impressive.
Yeah, I could see why they did it if you're doing it with all the precons together, because there are tokens.
Oh, there are
of those.
Definitely token strategies in other decks,
Right.
for sure.
But just if you're going to FNM, just going up against your
you're
friends.
upgrading it just to take to the game store.
Exactly. You want to take this out. It does not help you.
Good cut.
Thank you. And then it's not last. I think we have a couple more actually. So yes, we have 2 more. Okay, so actually it is the last.
The last one.
Oh, I skipped one. It's okay. So we skipped one. We're coming back to it. It is Chaos Torminator Lord. Terminator. I can't say that word. Terminator. There we go.
It's not Terminator. Okay, wait. Do the voice.
The voice. Is it I'll be back?
Read that. No, well,
Oh,
it is
I
I'll
have
be
to
back,
read
but
it.
just read it.
Okay.
Chaos, and then just Terminator. The voice, okay.
So it's 3 red. I don't think that worked. For a 3/3 Australia's warrior. This is such a bad impression.
Okay, you're normal. I was hoping he'd be like Terminator. Or something like that.
He does. It sounds like I sound like I'm from New Zealand when I try to do that.
New Zealand Terminator. Okay. Back on track.
Sorry,
we're
everyone.
cutting this card. It's not good enough. Get out of here.
3 in a red, 3/3 for an Australia's warrior, Lord of Chaos. At the beginning of combat on your turn, another creature you control gains double strike until end of turn.
It's a Lord of Chaos.
Yeah.
It deals double strike.
It does deal double strike to another creature, which is fine.
It's an attacking. Is this an attacking deck? Because like you already cut like an attacky type thing.
I think maybe it could have been an attacking deck, and I've kind of stripped that away and made it into a burn cascade deck.
Okay.
Because I care much more about the big spells more so than attacking.
Yeah, I don't know. Just giving double strike, because without this just stealing double strike, it's just a 4-mana 3/3.
Right.
So we have to always want double strike in order for this to be even remotely playable.
And if it's the only creature on the board, it can't even give itself.
Yeah.
So it's all right.
I mean, I like Duelist Heritage, but I like that card because I can give my opponents double strike. I think that's really cool, but that's not even a slam dunk conclusion. So I think that this is definitely replaceable.
Yeah.
We don't have a high massive creature count either. Like here's the thing, if we were curving out, I might be like talking too much about this card, but like if you have a 3-drop that you're attacking with, you have your 3-drop and you play this on 4 and you get a double strike and you really start pressuring people.
Right.
But like a lot of the big things we have are demons that are more than 4.
Right.
And so you play this on 4 as you're curving out and you're not even giving anything double strike.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I can see where like if you play a big demon and you cascade into it, it's okay. And then that's like Happy Dreamland scenario.
Yeah.
But it's not amazing.
Okay.
And then the last cut, I was really torn about this one. It's very flavorful, but I really felt like it had to go, and it's the Horus's Heresy.
Not the Horus Heresy.
The Horus Heresy. It's 3 blue, black, and a red for a saga. And so the first part of it says, for each opponent, gain control of up to 1 target non-legendary creature that player controls.
Okay.
For as long as this remains on the battlefield.
Oh, that's not as good. Okay.
Right?
Yeah, okay.
And then draw a card. So now we're on to chapter 2. So it's your second turn, theoretically, right? Draw a card for each creature you control, but don't own. So 3 cards.
Be 3.
Right? 3 cards for
Could
6
be a lot
mana.
more. What if we steal a lot of other things?
But it's for each opponent, take 1. Oh, I guess you're saying if it was
we have
other...
like an Agent of Treachery and we have other stuff too.
Oh, well, then sure.
We're like, steal.
That would be great.
We got that bribery,
Inevitable
that
betrayal, yeah.
thing going on.
Okay.
Okay. Clearly, you're not saying the top end of this card. Okay.
Okay. Just
so
wait
we're
till
drawing
chapter
7
3.
or something like that. Okay. Good.
Okay. And then chapter 3 comes around and it says, starting with you, each player chooses a creature. Destroy each creature chosen this way. So your opponents are just going to blow up your board and then get their creatures back when the saga goes away.
They don't blow up their own creature.
Right.
They'll blow up another creature.
And then you're kind of left with the big target on your back.
Right.
It's like, oh, this is really cool.
You could choose one of the creatures that's going to go back to your opponent, but they could theoretically just all choose your own creature.
Yeah.
Am I reading this wrong?
That's what I was wondering, right? They do have to choose. So if you don't have any of your own creatures, then okay.
Yeah, they'll just choose each other's or whatever. But
it's not great.
But I also have 7 of my opponent's creatures already in this like a study, right?
Yeah.
I've drawn 7 cards, so they're just going to blow up the rest of my great board, all my Agent of Treacheries and stuff like that.
I don't think it's great.
It's 6 mana.
Exactly.
I wish we
and that
could've-
takes 3
Why
turns.
couldn't we have had this though? Like just keep the creatures, and then yes, they get a chance to blow stuff up. It's a political.
Yes, I think that would make so much more sense if you got to keep the creatures. But because
I'm hoping that there's an editor's note and we're like, oh, like this card is actually good.
Yeah.
And DJ and Ashlen don't understand it.
It's
But
broken.
I have a problem. I think that we do understand. Okay. I am fully in support of almost all of your cuts. I think that that's fantastic. And I think that you've done a really great job of rounding out this deck and really honing in on that cascade strategy right there. So excellent job. But tell me, now that you've like tuned it a little bit, how does this deck play?
it plays kind of slow at first.
Okay.
Right? So you have a bunch of big drop creatures. You are going to be building your board for the first couple turns. And then it gets very explosive. You're going to hit, the whole plan is to hit your cascade spells. And when you do, they're great value. So once you hit that curve and can start cascading, it's going to be very explosive.
Okay, that sounds good. So is it fun to play?
Yes, chaos is fun.
Okay.
Burn is fun.
Burn is fun. Chaos is fun. Cascading into things is fun.
Yeah.
Like, okay. So I can see demons are fun.
Demons are
like
fun.
Big splashy creatures. So you have big splashy creatures, big effects, chaos, destruction, death and decay, pain and pleasure, and all sorts of lords of demon chaos.
Yes.
All sorts of stuff. All right. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. To the listeners.
That's you.
That's you. All right. This is an awesome 40K deck, but it can use a lot of upgrades. Maybe you agree with Ashlen's 10 cards. Maybe you disagree. Tell us in the comments down below. I'm especially interested in all of you 40K fans.
Yeah.
We want some thematic choices in the comments. I want full explanations here. Like, not just like, oh, this is the card that matches. Trust me, it works. No, we want to see your homework down there.
Give us the 40K Vorthoses that you are.
Exactly. Get down there, pick the exact right cards to make this deck perfect, or make it the most powerful deck you can imagine. We want to see all of those comments.
And get on over to cardkingdom.com/command. That's right, we're back to being sponsored by them, which is the best thing ever because they have fast shipping, they have an incredible inventory, and their customer service is like none other. They are absolutely my favorite card retailer to use in the business. And when you use that link, cardkingdom.com/command, you also support the show and everything we do here at the Command Zone. You're going to want to pick up one of these 40K decks. I know you will. And when you do, you're going to want to go with something reliable, and that is cardkingdom.com/command. And then once you get all of your magic cards, once you get this beautiful precon, you're going to want to put it in some Warhammer 40K sleeves.
Look at these sleeves. Aren't they amazing? This art is so cool. That's
so
one of the reasons why you liked this deck was the unique art on it. And who has all of the unique art?
It's ULTRAPRO. ULTRAPRO has all of the official licensed art for these sets. They have the play mats to match it. They also have really cool wall scrolls that they always put out with it. Like, if you want to go full themed in your 40K Warhammer garb, ULTRAPRO has you covered.
Should wear like a wall scroll across my body.
It's like a little tabard.
I'm like, some people pull out the playmat and have the sleeves. It's like, no, I have a toga of Warhammer.
You can make a totem with a PVC pipe.
Oh,
and then,
I love it.
My gosh. And, to let them know that we sent you, you're going to go to ultrapro.com/command to get all of those wonderful things to protect your cards and deck yourself out. And that's it. I think now we move to the cleanup step. Big thanks to our amazing team here at the Command Zone. We have Arthur Metacraft, Shauna Gilles, Damon Lenz, Lady Danger, Manson Leung, Craig Blanchett, Josh Lee Kwai, Jimmy Wong, Josh Murphy, Jake Boss, Patrick Nan, Jordan Pridgeon, Sam Waldo, Gaurav Galati, Truck Ty, Jamie Block, Evan Limburger, Mitch Trafford, and DJ. Thank you so much for being on here.
And Ashlen. You can find us online everywhere. My name's DJ, also known as Jumbo Commander. See me on YouTube. But most importantly, see you down in the comments. See you for the next episode. And before we go, a special thanks to Jeffrey Palmer. He does the Living Card animations, that soul ring that begins and ends our episodes at Living Cards MTG.
Check them out.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode, this Recon Upgrade Guide. We'll see y'all really soon.
Peace.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you for your attention. For further inquiries, send an email to commandcast@rocketjump.com or ask us on Twitter @JFWong and @JoshLeeQuai. See you later, alligator.
Greetings, humans.